Dive into the fun world of letters with Sparkle Denae's ABC Word Chase and Coloring Book. Looking for an exciting and educational way to help your little ones explore their ABCs? Look no further. This engaging book not only allows your child to practice tracing the alphabet, but also includes tracing words and coloring fun pictures in between. It's kid-friendly, kid-approved, and the perfect blend of learning and creativity. Get your copy today and watch your child's learning journey light up with joy.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Life Scope channel. On your way in, don't forget to like, share, definitely subscribe. It's appreciated as always. So, I had to come back on here and talk with you all, check in with you all, and see if you are keeping up with the Diddy saga. It continues to give a lot of information. Some celebrities are doing some very interesting things that I've seen over the past few days. And that makes you kind of think like, hmm. Now, I queued up this video. This video came across my timeline from News Nation, and I wanted to take a look at it with you all. So let's get into it. We're going to talk like we always do.
We could see music mogul Sean Diddy Combs in court this week for a status hearing. His attorney still working to appeal a judge's ruling denying Diddy bail. Denied it twice last week. The Bad Boy Records founder is being held by himself in a Brooklyn detention center, accused of running an enterprise of sex trafficking and forced labor. During a March raid, we all remember this, authorities discovered drugs, AR-15s, and an excessive amount of baby oil and lubricant inside of his home, 1,000 bottles of it. Former inmate and director and founder of Wall Street Prison Consultants, Larry Levine, joins me now. Larry, welcome to the show. Thanks for being with me.
Glad to be with you.
So this jail's conditions, have been described as dirty, notorious for mice, maggots, inmate violence, power outages. You spent...
Wait a minute. So that has to be a very hard-hitting reality. Diddy seemingly has this luxurious lifestyle. He has a private jet, homes, cars. He has been making money for a very long time. And now he is in a place where there are mice, maggots, power outages. I think she said violence. Of course, we would think or assume there was violence in this type of environment, but he is subjugated to a cell, isolated because he's on that watch list. So, yeah, this has to be a very hard hitting reality. Now, some people say that it is not even enough. He deserves more for what he's done. Others are, I won't say necessarily defending Diddy, even though some of them are, but they're coming at it in the perspective of the charges are so vague when it's talking about sex trafficking because he engaged in sex with these people. They went out of town. So that is the part of sex trafficking across states lines and everything. However, these people knew what they were getting into and at any time could walk away, yet they stayed. So people are kind of really pushing back on that a little bit. And they're basically saying if the court allows this, what's to stop the court from doing this to other Black men, people that are well known, maybe people that's not so well known? And I had heard, and when I say people are saying this, I'm talking specifically about different opinions that I've seen on social media. I have heard someone bring up the term coerce. Like, what exactly does that mean? Does that mean that Diddy is being charged for possibly influencing someone? And for me, we have to think in terms of what I would consider to be just real life scenarios, even though this is what is actually going on with Diddy, but we have to think in terms of the real life scenario. If there is someone who can change your life overnight, now that doesn't mean you personally would go for that. And technically, everybody can walk away. But all of us out here really would love to be able to do the work we want to do and get paid for it because it's not going to feel like work for the most part. Things that you love to do and get paid for. That is a part of the dream that I think that is for most people. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because these people that was under his record label or that he dealt with in a business way, all they wanted to do was probably, for the most part, live out their dreams with their talents, whether it's singing, whether it's maybe even possibly acting. Because I don't know if Diddy ever produced any movies or whatnot. He was in a couple, but I don't know if he's actually produced movies. But he could have gone in that direction as well. He had enough influence, knew a lot of people, but he went into fashion. He went into liquor business, doing being like a brand ambassador basically. So with someone who is so very influential, they can coerce you into doing stuff that maybe you wouldn't do. And in order to keep you in somewhat of a subservient mind state, that's where the drugs come in at. So when people kind of say, well, it's a little too vague for me with the sex trafficking, I do somewhat get it. But I think in this case, and I'm not saying he has or he is guilty of all of the people that are coming out around him. But I'm going to stick to the case that we know that has came out dealing with Cassie. We saw that video of him. He would have probably stumped her out if he didn't have his towel. But we saw that video of him snatching her up. Yes, Cassie could have walked away at any time. She could have. But when she did try to walk away, going back to that video, he stopped her. So could she have really walked away at any time like people think? So with her case, being in the forefront, it's really obvious, in my opinion, it's obvious to me that when they're using the term, when the DA uses the term coerce, that is a part of it. What's going on with that? If he did that with her, who else did he do it with? And he has a reputation. Does that mean it's illegal? That's the question I feel like the people who are not necessarily defending Diddy, some may be defending Diddy, but the ones who are bringing up, well, the charges are so vague. Now, I will admit when I brought back up to light, because I had forgot about those gun charges, that seems like something that's very strong and concrete. But they haven't even said anything else other than they seized those guns during the raid because you got AKs filed off. Have they been used in crimes? Are they attached to any bodies? That seemed like that would be such a strong case. And nobody probably would question that as much as the sex trafficking because you have what seems to be willing participants. But if you got somebody, let's just kind of go over this. If you got somebody who is essentially Santa Claus, he's checking his list, going through, seeing who's naughty, who's nice, he's handing out presents. If you have someone who is essentially playing Santa Claus to people who don't have anything, you don't think that he could tell them, well, hey, if you want this big record deal that's going to make you $100,000, I'm going to need you to do this though. I'm going to need you to bend over. You don't think that that's happening, I'm gonna need you to go out of town with me. Do this one thing for me. I'm gonna need you to pass this bag off to somebody. I'm gonna need you to call these male escorts because you know how I get down. Like I said, everybody could technically walk away, but like I am also saying, everything is easier said than done. And we clearly saw a case where a woman was trying to walk away. Like, we're not going to let that go. Now, is that for everybody? We don't know. But we saw a case where this woman was trying to walk away. We don't know all of what happened in the hotel room. But if she's trying to get away, wouldn't that be what everybody is saying? Like, you can walk away. You know what kind of person you're dealing with. Yes. Cassie knew what kind of person she was dealing with, which is why she was trying to walk away and leave. And I'm going to also bring this to the forefront just to make it hit home for just us average folk, because they, for the most part, those people are rich. Let's come on down. Have you been in a relationship that is not necessarily abusive, but is considered toxic when you look back at it? Like, you guys were just no good for each other, and you be trying to break up. You doing the old school song, break up to make up. That's all we do. You are literally doing that song. And people, your friends probably at the time was sitting up here saying, girl, leave her. Or on the guy's end, she ain't nothing. She for the streets. Leave her. And yet you continue to find yourself getting back with this person because it's something that has to work itself out. You can leave it any time, but somehow y'all find y'all way back with each other. You guys are like somehow codependent on one another. So if we're not doing that, us as average folk, if we are not doing that, if it take us a minute to get from somebody, now it don't take everybody. Some people definitely know this ain't for me, I'm out. But I'm just saying, you have more situations of people doing the breakup dance than not. And some people don't want you to leave, which is why you end up going back with them. Now they're not doing it in the way Diddy did it with Cassie, trying to force her, but they're trying to influence in a way. They call you all the time. They do, it gets to be like obsessive behavior. They do things like that. So just to kind of bring this back on up to Cassie and Diddy, particularly Diddy, because of everything he's got going on, it's not easy to do. And I see why they possibly, and I'm talking about the DA, why the DA charged him with sex trafficking. They may have evidence much more. I'm pretty sure they probably have evidence way more than we know about, and probably seen a lot of those videos. So I think as of right now, it is appropriately charged, but I do get from the different perspective of this is too vague. If you do this, you will do this to other black men, maybe other black celebrities or whatnot. I get that as well. But we won't know until they roll out the information. They haven't rolled out everything to us. But so I'm just speaking from what I see and hear on the surface. So let's get back to it. I'm off my soapbox, at least for right now.
10 years in 11 different facilities. So you know what life is like for him right now. Take us
Well,
behind the scenes.
I was also at MDC Los Angeles. It's like a cookie cutter of the MDC in New York. So yeah, I do know. But he's sitting in the shoe. He's in the hole. And this guy is going through loneliness, anxiety, desperation. He's on suicide watch, and they hand out like psych meds, like they're M&Ms to these inmates to try to get them to cope with what's going on. So his entire existence is to sit in this little cell, essentially. He can shower 3 times a week. He's not getting any real visits. If his lawyer does a legal visit, they have to come upstairs into the special housing unit to see him. Now, have you seen these reports about all these commissary items they say that he could buy? Any of those?
What was one of them? Steak or something?
Ribeye, steak. I
Yeah.
mean, all kinds of nonsense. He's in the shoe, people. He's in a special housing unit. He cannot buy things off the regular commissary list.
So this is rocking his world right
He
now.
can buy a radio.
Yeah, this is rocking his world right now. What about treatment from other inmates?
Now, this is pretty much at the bottom. In my opinion, I don't think it's going to hit the bottom until there is a conclusion with what's going on with Diddy. Like, this has just begun for Diddy, even though it's been happening since last year. This is like a part of the buildup. All these months that have passed. Now we're here. Now he's in jail. He's got denied bond twice. He's in a special housing unit. He can't even order that steak. And would it even be wise for him to even try to flex in that way? I mean, you are in a place where they really going to show you what time it is. And unless you are the one wielding power behind the wall, would it be a good thing to kind of order steak and all of that? I don't know. Somebody who has definitely been there, maybe they could tell me a little more. But just I'm going off what I hear and what I know of, but not necessarily know. Let's continue.
Larry, I'm curious in that too, because we know that they don't take kindly to those who are accused of hurting women or children. They're not minors that we know of. But if he makes it to general population, how's he treated?
Look, if he makes it to GP, general population, someone's going to stick a knife in him. They're going to put some bars of soap in a sock and boom, they're going to pop him over the head and split his head open like a watermelon. They cannot GP him at all. There's a better chance of Jesus appearing in front of us right now than him making general population.
And see, that's the good point. Not what I tried to make in the last video, but when I did say I don't think that he would do an alleged Epstein. I really think if that is the case, somebody else is going to be behind it. I don't think it's going to be by his own hands because he is a high profile celebrity. Now, what she was talking about, oh, they got a problem with men that do things to women and children. We only know of one case with him being with allegedly being with someone 17 or whatever. But they don't care about that. Half the men are probably in jail because of a woman. Let's just be honest. So they don't care about that. Now the child thing, yes, I can see that happening if he has more cases that come out from people that were children that he had sexually assaulted, then yeah. But just him being high profile, that would totally make sense to me that somebody is going to try him because of that. Also, kind of keep in mind, you don't know who is in there. This is in New York. You don't know who is in there. So, there could be somebody behind the wall with Diddy that has beef with him from years ago, from way back. If it's not them personally, maybe somebody they know. Now you can bring in the women in that matter, somebody they know, a sister, a mother, whoever that Diddy may have screwed over, or an uncle, a nephew. So you don't know what that environment is like. But it really don't take much for them to want to try Diddy in that way.
He's safe where he is at. There's no reason to move him. And this nonsense about him getting bail, they're never going to give him bail. He wants to go to Essex County, New Jersey, to go to a cushy jail there. Remember, he's not a federal inmate. He's a U.S. Marshal detainee. So they just house him at MDC. And in order to send him to Jersey, they would have to transport him back and forth several times a week with like 6 marshals. They put him in one car, and there'd be a car behind him and a car in front of him. They're not going to do that. So his life essentially at this point is just screwed. And I don't see him ever getting out. And remember, he's fighting his case, right?
Yeah. So what does it look like if he's convicted, Larry?
Well, it's going to take 3 or 4 years to fight his case. And then they're going to put him in a medium security institution. He's never going to go into a minimum security camp. He's going to be living in a cell, and he's going to be living in an isolated area.
Let's stop right there. That was a lot. So, according to this guy who is a former prisoner and moved up into having his own prison consulting firm, he said that Diddy is never getting bail. Do y'all believe that's true, that Diddy is never getting bail? Because I don't know, for some reason, I still think that he would get bail. Like, I thought the first time they was gonna allow him to bail out and then go to trial, then he'll just, take a plea, get sentenced, and he just do his time. But he is saying that he's never gonna get bail. Now, I would go with this. Why are they not giving him bail? We did discuss that the judge did not want him trying to coerce or influence people through intimidation. So, dang, Diddy. Yeah, I thought he was going to at some point still get bail.
Now, maybe he'll associate with some other people that have similar crimes to what he has, but he's never going to be in GP. He's never going to have regular visits. He's going to have visits through the telephone, no contact visits for him.
When you were an inmate, Larry, if a celebrity was brought in, say status like his, I don't know if that ever happened for you. What were your thoughts about them being in the cell down the way?
I thought that, wow, look what they've gone from, having millions, billions of dollars. Now all of a sudden they're living out of a 2 foot by 3 foot locker. I mean, I saw people that claimed they had a lot of money, were celebrities that were shining people's shoes, ironing people's clothes just to earn commissary money. And a lot of these people, they feel like they're privileged. And when a correctional officer throws a mop at them and tells them to mop the floor, gives them a broom and tells them to sweep out the compound, it's very demeaning to them.
Okay, so that was it. That was a pretty decent video, just going over somewhat what life is like for Diddy at this point. And very, very harsh reality. And like I said, personally, I think he does deserve it, but some people think otherwise. As always, you could tell me what you think in the comments below. So I do think I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here, but I will do a few other videos to continue to discuss all of this Diddy madness and just try to keep up and make some sense out of it. Anyway, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, bye.